Hello and welcome to the Racers HQ podcast. I've got our dedicated co-host Pat Mulry on the line tonight. Pat, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Matt Murphy?
I'm awesome. It's awesome to be back after a little bit of a break there during the boring season. But yeah, Pat, you drink anything tonight? Any apple juice?
We do have some juice of the nectar of the gods. This is a Maker's Mark. Maker's Mark has been releasing like these kind of private selections with different stave profiles and stuff for a couple of years. So this is one from Total Wine of one of their. I think Maker's Mark is a very good product. Moderately priced.
I mean, an old staple at this point, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's no recycled vodka.
No, but if you know what you're doing or don't know what you're doing, you can pick up a bottle of Maker's Mark and have a great time.
Oh, no question. Like it's not too complicated. It's not too hot. Like, yeah, 100%. It's a go-to choice, no question.
And they got that weird wax thing on the top, right? Isn't that them?
Yeah, and one thing that has bugged me lately about Maker's Mark, and I've been a fan of Maker's Mark for many years at this point, is that I think they changed something in the manufacture of the cap and the cork because the cap doesn't stay attached to the cork anymore.
Okay.
And so like after a few, I mean, I guess it'd be great, if you go all Van Halen and chug a bottle during a concert, you don't have to worry about like capping and uncapping it, but that's not who we are.
No, we're not Van Halen. We're far more talented.
Yeah. Well, at least we're more alive.
That's right. Yeah.
Shout out to Eddie Van Halen, R.I.P.
Yeah, R.I.P.
So, if Maker's Mark, if you're out there listening, fix that bottle top cap cork situation because we're fans, but that stinks.
Very good. Yeah. Look for him on the car next year. Good. We're still over here on the Evan Williams bottled and bond. My lovely wife has had the COVID and we've all kind of OD'd on hot toddies around here, but we're doing great.
Yeah. So other than the COVID.
Yeah, but that's fine. We're past it now.
Oh, okay.
Well, cool, man. Well, let's see here. Let's get into a show tonight. Pour one out to our good friend Nathan Adler. He's doing good things. He got a bit of a job promotion, but we're sad to see him having to take a break from the pod for a while. So
he'll be an extended correspondent in the field.
That's right. Yeah. So we'll hear from him here eventually, but he's taking a little break. But good for you on the job front. Let's see here. Do we want to talk about any garage updates, Mr. Mulry?
Yeah, give me your garage updates, Matt Murphy.
Oh yeah, quick one. So I've been talking about the stupid dash for a while, and whatever. Finally got the dash in the race car. Plugged in my various connectors. I didn't go with the big motorsports thing. I ended up with probably a half dozen, waterproof connectors to get the dash like quick disconnected from the rest of the wiring harness.
Yeah.
But it's pretty slick. It's all on there. So yeah, finally ran power to it to see how the car would do. I didn't bother starting up yet, but right away, my Racecaptor Pro digital dash made out of a Raspberry Pi and the 7-inch touchscreen popped and fizzed and turned into a smoke machine.
Oh.
So everything else works fine. I don't know what I did wrong. I don't know whether it was the power supply or my wiring. I did try to wire the power supply for the Raspberry Pi to my switches so I could switch the dash on and off if I needed to reboot the thing mid-race.
Yeah.
And I may have just got flubbed up that wiring or something, but more testing needs to be done. I kind of rage quit when that happened. But
I'm sorry to hear that. So I've got a spare Pi dash around here somewhere.
I might talk to you about that. Things have moved on. I need the 4B.
In camera shot right here.
Yeah, I had that old model.
That's the display with the. You could replace the board on it.
Yeah, the board then becomes incompatible with the case, and I tried cutting that up, and I think that's might have been where I got wrong. I may have powered the wrong port or something.
Oh, yeah, that'll be a problem.
That'll do it. Yeah. So more to come. But yeah, that's my minor garage update. But that makes the car pretty well complete, though. I think we're ready to go racing this year for sure.
That's awesome. So, do you think you fried the pie or the RCP? Just the
No, the
pie.
RCP is fine. Actually, the RCP boots, everything
Okay.
else
Okay.
on the system in the system seems to work fine. I think I just got that one thing wrong.
Well, that's not the worst. I mean, that's
Mm-mm.
relatively an inexpensive problem to have
Yeah,
and
150
very
bucks.
fixable. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Not nearly as bad as if it'd been the RCP because the new RCP 4 is a dearly priced item.
really. Okay.
Yeah, I think they're
Yeah.
they're getting close to the 4-digit zone, if not above 4 digits.
Ew. You can get a lot of product for that kind of money.
Yeah, yeah.
Motec stuff. I don't know, whatever.
Hopefully not Motec, man. I think you're looking well into the 4 digits at that point. For at least
Yeah.
RCP is like it starts with a 1.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
What you been up to, Mulry?
So this weekend, we were working on the weather was lovely in Dallas last weekend. I
Hmm.
fear we may have had our weekend of spring in the last weekend of February, but because if that's the case, it's going to be a scorcher this summer. But had a lovely weather, and so I was able to get out, and the plumbing work had all been completed, so there weren't lots of randos crawling under my house,
Mm.
excavating and de-excavating, which has been disconcerting. And although they did fine work, but it's weird.
Hmm.
Um, and so got out in the garage and got the quarter windows put on Miku, our E36 race car, which took a lot more time than I thought it was going to.
Really, what'd you run into?
Oh, it's just one of those things that you want to get it right the first time. Like you don't want to put a lot of spare holes in that Lexan,
Hmm.
um, and so it's just that it's just fiddling around, getting like drill the you know first 2 holes,
Yeah.
get it in place, kind of temporarily, so you can mark the rest of them so that they're in the right spot where it's really going to be fixtured when it's all said and done. And then I designed and printed some brackets that bolt through the kind of window, the sheet metal window flanges. So then um,
Hmm.
to offset the position of the bolts that go through the window, because the windows aren't really big enough to fit on the flanges completely. Um, so it was just that, and then you got to do it on both sides. So it's just a
Yeah.
lot of kind of fiddling around with it and getting it. So it's really just because like I said, it's one of those things you don't get to do. Well, I guess you do get to do it twice if you order a new set of windows, but I didn't want to order a second
Did,
set of windows.
so these are pre-built windows.
Yeah, these were Lexan from, I don't remember who I ordered them from,
Hmm.
Hard Motorsport or
Okay.
Condor Speed Shop or
And for any of the
something like that.
haters out there, windows are a safety feature, and that's totally unlimited in lemons. So I don't want to hear about it.
Oh yeah, completely.
Yeah, but no, it does look really nice. And I saw the new fill neck, which is also a safety feature, but it's right
Right.
there poking out of the quarter panel. That's really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. So hopefully, that'll make our pit stops just a little bit more efficient. Not that they
Hmm.
were grossly inefficient before, but
Hmm. Nice.
Titan, I like the way the car is looking.
Hmm.
We cleaned up. One of the benefits of doing the electrical harness is it's really, really clean inside now,
Hmm.
rather than having we just had a lot of wires in the old car.
Yeah.
Um, and so we were able to get rid of a lot of those and consolidate. So it's all just in one backbone going up the middle of the passenger floor.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's looking nice. I hope it runs nice. I'm hoping to get out if the weather holds for us, to get out to ECR in mid March and get in a test day and shake it down and find out what isn't right, and then and hopefully nothing too major, and then we can get that fixed and hopefully get back out one more time before we get up to Hallett for the first weekend in May for the first
Awesome.
Lemons race for the new Miku.
So exciting, man. Yeah, really coming along. So we're thinking mid-March for testing, huh? Kind of St. Patrick's Day time.
Yeah, Sunday the 17th.
Okay.
There's something going on. Like I think there's a Member Day on the 14th or 15th is maybe the Friday. And then they've got something on the calendar for the 16th. And it's one of the things that sometimes it's like you can do a member day and that, and sometimes you can't. And I haven't really checked into it. But the 17th would work nicely because then I can, get the car loaded up on the trailer on Saturday and maybe even go up Saturday night and stay up there just to make it easy to be at the track, first thing in the morning rather than having to roll out of the house at 5:30 or something.
Nice.
So, yeah, exciting times.
Very cool.
Got the other couple little things. We have to put. You may not know this actually. You have to put some stops inside the steering rack, like on the steering. I don't know what you call that part.
I remember when you first got those. Yeah, it's like
yeah.
I remember when you got those.
Inside
little
of
spacers so you don't go
to
to full lock or whatever. You don't rub your fenders and stuff like that.
Actually, so you don't rub the tires on the inside of the car. It's when you're at full lock on the inside rather than the outside. So I got that figured out, and a couple other little things. I've got the splitter's almost still the old splitter, not the new one, but 3D working on 3D printing a little kind of gap filler between the splitter and the front bumper cover. So yeah, just you forget about all the little things that need to be done or that have been done over the course of half a decade on another car, and then when you're rebuilding it, it's like, oh yeah, I gotta do that and I gotta do that, and just
I think that's why I think it's so important to set goals for yourself, and you're great at this. Obviously, you're booking races and things like that, but unless you go after a race to say I'm going to go, compete in this thing, you're never going to get anything done. And even just that experience, even if you don't make it to the race, is going to make your car a lot closer to the next time you try, right? So,
I mean, this car is a perfect example of that because we really wanted to get it to Barber, and it was like, the way things ran out in the fall and the stuff that needed to happen, and when some weather came down, it was like that, Barber just wasn't going to happen. But because we had, really bullseyed Barber to try and make that, and then we didn't have enough drivers too. We were going to have a hard time getting enough drivers. It meant we had pushed enough in, September and October and November that then when we kind of got shut down in December a little bit, it was like, okay, well, we'll push to Hallett, but we'll be done in advance in enough time to be able to get out on track and test it a little bit. That's certainly, I mean, that's one thing that you always insisted on or came to insist on. And I'm so glad you did, was that we do more testing before we get to the track so that we're not, getting to the track and then scrambling to fix something and not having a great race. So that's my hope, is we get to Hallett and we just have a fun, clean race.
We certainly should. Yeah. Sounds exciting. I'm really looking forward to the Hallett race. Well,
there's some big Hallett action going on this coming weekend, huh?
There is. It's the season opener for Kama, and just their high-speed touring system. So I'm going to go hang out with Roland on Sunday and watch him test his 350Z that he'll probably start running in Kama this year. And real excited about that. Yeah, real excited about that build. Excited to go hopefully run on track with Roland this year. I think that would be an amazing experience. We've been longtime buddies and rivals, so that's exciting. And then the NASA, I guess, second event of the year at Crescent, NASA, Texas. And so I know buddy Hunter will be down there in his green Miata ST6 car. And then I guess Todd's out for this one because RIP Todd's motor from the Lemons race. He's got that thing, but he rapidly got that to his shop and started getting it work done. And this guy's not messing around. This Todd guy.
No, it's awesome. It's awesome. He's got that thing. Sorry, rolling away from the microphone there. He's got it going. They're rebuilding it. I don't know if he's going to miss one race or two, but I mean, that's keeping it pretty tight to only miss a race or two. And I think he probably could, if he'd really pushed it, he probably could have made this one, but it would have been, tough on the wallet probably.
Oh, for sure.
You can always get things rushed. It's just how much you have to pay for it, right?
Yeah, for sure. And Todd stepped up his tow rig game. He's
Yeah.
got himself a nice F-250 to stay in the Ford family, and I think he's targeting a covered or an enclosed trailer. So Todd's really stepping his game up. We might need to.
Well,
I think he's disqualified from Racer of the Year with all these fancy bits he's got.
yeah, no kidding. If he starts whipping his checkbook at the race thing,
Mhm.
that's not in the Racers HQ spirit. It's more like living
Yeah,
a life of quiet desperation.
yeah, yeah. I only throw credit cards at racing. I never use my actual money. But yeah, lots of fun events coming up. But yeah, I look forward to hanging out at Hallett, and we'll come back next week and talk all about what happened over the weekend, including, if we can segue here,
Oh,
The first F1 race of the season. So yeah, that's happening on a Saturday this year. All kinds of a weird. We got a weird schedule this year for the season opener. Um, when you think about this is all very important fantasy GP stuff. By the way, our fantasy GP league is blown up this year. I got all kinds of
oh, really?
Oklahoma City businessmen in there. Yeah, it's a very distinguished crowd. Lots of lawyers and IT personnel.
Yeah.
So more of the same, but
Are,
maybe
we-
HR
are we gonna
guy.
are we gonna play for pinks this year?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, just I don't know what I would. I've got a scooter I could trade for it, or
Yeah, I've got that. I'll put up the old Miku scooter.
okay, yeah, we can just go for like knockoff Chinese scooter pinks. That's great. Um, I didn't say that. That's not serious. Not yeah. That's not on the record, Mulry. Okay.
Yeah,
Um,
opinions expressed by Matt Murphy may not express the opinions of Matt Murphy or Racers HQ.
that's right. But um, but yeah. So we got this race coming up. But what I was going to say, as far as fantasy GP goes, you got to get in your picks. I set my
Yeah.
calendar at 8 a.m. Friday, which is between the last practice and the first qualifying. But you got to get those picks in, and any kind of final
Oh yeah.
adjustments to the team. You got to stay on top of that stuff. So,
Yeah,
but
that's
yeah,
true. I haven't even put any of my stuff in yet.
yeah, okay. It's frustrating. I tried to get rid of Red Bull to maybe pick up Ferrari or Mercedes. We'll see, just to like open up some budget. But because if you take Max and Red Bull, you got to take Williams and Sargent, and it's bad.
You got two Haas drivers and Haas
Hmm.
and like Stake, whatever
Yeah.
they're calling that team this year, the former Alfa Romeo,
Oh yeah, yeah.
because they got in trouble with their
Hmm.
name, right? Like they're not able to use the name they were going to use, something like that.
Oh yeah, yeah. Maybe it was too gambly. I think because it was, there's certain places they run in. It's kind of like the old, tobacco advertising, right? You can't
Oh
just like
yeah, that's probably
blatantly,
true.
yeah, advertise gambling problems.
Sort of like
So,
how they've got all the non-alcoholic beer
oh, I
on
love
the
that. That's the
cars now,
best. Yeah, the
like
Guinness
a Total
0.0.
Dodge, yeah, or Peroni
Hmm.
NA, or what's the Heineken version?
Yeah,
Heineken
Heineken
Silver or something
Zero,
like that.
something. Yeah,
Zero, yeah, yeah,
yeah. No, I think it's a great hack. I mean, makes me want a real Heineken. So, perfect. Yeah, there's
ah,
that weird like barcode thing that like Ferrari was running for a while. There was like, oh, when you buy a pack of marbles and there's a barcode on it and you use that to pay for the marbles, don't you want a cigarette now? And you're just like, yeah, I guess I do.
yeah. Or
So,
they for a couple years they had that Mission Winnow
oh yeah,
thing.
yeah,
Nobody really understood what it was, and
Mhm.
like if you went and looked on the website for what Mission Winnow is, it was just like a bunch of like proactive, stick a pin in it, circle back to that business speak that like it's like I think that was before like Chat GPT existed, but it was like if you just asked Chat GP to come up with the most anodyne, obsequious business talk roundtable, that's what you would have had was like the Mission Winnow mission statement. It made zero sense. And it clearly was like, well, this is really just so that, Philip Morris International can still like, have race activation for their, distributor in Indonesia or whatever.
Yeah, I'm all for it. Yeah, let's get more vices, you know, in F1 because all these IT companies is lame, boring.
Yeah.
Love
Yeah.
IT, doesn't
Different
excite
kind of
me.
ice. Oh, there's Bitcoin. You've got Bitcoin advertisers. That's clearly a vice, right? I mean, that's gambling.
Okay. Kinda. Yeah, that's gambling. Yeah. It's my understanding. Allegedly, it's gambling. But we
If
did
it's
have,
not outright fraud.
yeah. Oh my God. Let's not get started. Yeah, about all the fraud. There are so many fraudy crypto apps, guys. Do not download shady crypto apps.
Yeah,
You
no
will just be
kidding.
pumping money into a black hole, you
Did you
idiots.
watch that
Anyway,
Netflix documentary? Not to get too far off the into the black hole.
let's go for it. Which Netflix
There's a
documentary did I watch, Pat?
I don't remember the name of it. I don't remember the name of it,
Was it
but
romance
it came out.
scams?
No, it was a crypto complete crypto scam out of Miami. And these guys had like been running an exotic car rental business, and then it went out of business because they were, basically borrowing money from their family and buying stuff from themselves on the side. Like they had no business running a business at all. The guys were, low level like weed dealers before that, and then they're like, oh, this whole crypto thing, and they just completely like they literally paid someone. It wasn't on Fiverr, like someone in Moldova or something like that to just completely rip off another website for some token. You remember back when tokens were a thing?
Oh
And
yeah.
yeah, and like invest in our token and all that. It's just a complete scam. And the guy who's like the ringleader of it all basically gets off for time served because he was the one who rolled first. And I'm like, how did this
Gotcha.
dude not catch a shiv somewhere along the way?
Yeah, right.
So yeah.
Who you messing with? Yeah.
Yeah.
All
Anyway,
right. Well,
back to a different kind of fixed game, which is Formula One.
yeah. So we had practice. This is what I wanted to get to. Is we had practice, and that happened. And I got to tell you, everything I'm about to say from here on out has probably been directly ripped from Missed Apex. Okay, because they have actual journalists that go and care and understand F1. But I got a few hot takes from their analysis of practice. But it is just kind of a. I mean, you can't understand too much. Did you garner anything from practice, Pat? Did I use the word garner right, or
You
is it
did,
gather?
you did. No, you used Garner right, and I agree. Like because I think the guys that really know what they're doing, they're sandbagging, right? I mean, like there's a certain level of maybe I'm just a real deep cynic. Okay, I'm definitely a real deep cynic. There's no maybe about that. But like with as much sim time as they can do and the level of fidelity of their models is pretty high for the really good teams at this point. So I think they know, before they get out there, and that's why they can do like, 6 hours of preseason testing and then go into a race. I mean, it used to be there was weeks of preseason testing, and now it's like, sessions of preseason testing. So like I was saying right before we got on the show, Rachel and I have watched like maybe the first 6 episodes of Drive to Survive just to kind of get back into thinking of Formula One thoughts. And so the one we just finished, spoiler alert, if you haven't watched if you didn't pay attention to Formula One since last year, so Lewis Hamilton's contract was up mid-season or at the end of last season, right? And it was like, is he going to sign? Is he going to re-sign? Is he going to go somewhere else? What's going to happen, right? So he re-signs with AMG for a 2-year contract, right? So it's a big deal. Lewis back, 2-year contract. We're going to go and try and, get his 8th, or how was it that he says it? Re-win his 8th or re-get his 8th or whatever it is. And
something cheeky.
yeah. And and then was it December or January that it's like, oh, by the way, Lewis is only going to work the first of those 2 years, and then he's going to Ferrari.
Yeah.
Well, so how does Lewis know like this car, the car this season isn't what he wants? He already knows the culture at AMG has changed, so it's not what he wants, and he thinks that going to Ferrari is going to make it better. Did Lewis get a tapeworm in his brain? I mean, what's going on here?
Well, we have covered this on the show. I don't know. I think that yeah, it's an interesting play, and it'll look so genius when it works.
Yeah,
Maybe he's got what it takes to turn that team around to like rally everybody around a championship, and maybe not just like. Do you think it's just a bunch of like fear and finger pointing? I think it is.
yeah.
I think he can take all the stuff he's learned at Mercedes and possibly make a real change on the on the team.
I mean, I would like to see that happen, but I don't think. I think the culture at Ferrari is just it's just toxic. It's
Mhm.
and I don't think that Lewis can change that, and I think that again, I'd like to be wrong. I'd love to see
Mhm.
him come in and him win a championship there, or change the team enough that Charles and he are so successful that one of them wins the championship. Because Leclerc is a hell of a driver. I mean, there's no question, right?
Mhm.
We saw that. We've seen that the last 2 seasons. He just hasn't had the car to stay up top when they can qualify in the pole, but he can't hold on to it for the first half lap. Um,
We had a
and
lot of
just
reliability issues as well.
Yeah, right. And I really like Sainz. I mean, Sainz is probably my favorite driver on the grid.
Mhm.
That win that he had last year was straight genius. The way he kept working it to keep Norris in DRS, so that
Uh,
Norris could stay ahead of, was it Lewis that was behind him? Um, it was. I mean, that wasn't like his engineer was telling him, "Hey, here's what you need to do." Carlos. Carlos like understood the game and just did it.
right.
Um, so I like that guy. I've liked him for a long time, but I don't know. I think it's a I think that's just a tough situation. That I understand why Lewis is leaving, because I think he feels like he's not being listened to when he gives input on the problem with the car, with the engineering side of things. Like, he's just being disregarded,
Mhm.
and he's like, who am I to tell you how a car reacts? I'm only a 7-time world champion. Um, I've only been doing this since I was like, 6.
Right. Right.
But your numbers say what they say, so that's what you're going to do, right? Like, I understand why Lewis wants to go. I mean, I don't know where he would go other than Ferrari to try and try and get out. But I, I just don't think Ferrari's going to do it. I think it's a bad culture there. Speaking of bad culture, let's talk Alpine for a second.
Oh
Because
yeah.
because
That
that is,
frustrated me. That frustrated me to see just silence.
oh, insanity, straight insanity, right?
Yeah,
Um,
like these two kids are like should probably be best friends, and
and
grow up
apparently we're
karting
at one
against each
point.
other. Yeah,
Yeah,
and just at this point can't stand each other. Um, I was really excited for that last year. If you go back to episode 98 or something like that, like I was excited for that team. I like both of those drivers, but man, so much toxic infighting. Yeah, I don't see that going well.
but that's another team culture problem, right? Like, that
Mhm.
goes way back with Renault. Renault
Mhm.
has never been, in its modern iteration, right? I mean, not going back to like when Alonso was there, because that's a completely different team.
Mhm.
Way back when
Yeah, oh,
when
yeah,
it was
yeah.
the mild 7 car, right? But the modern incarnation, it just seems like it has always been just everyone has the daggers out for everybody else at Renault, and there's no grace, and there's no forgiveness, and like not a lot of team spirit. It's like, hey, this is your job, and if you're not doing your job, you should go. And
Right.
from the guy who's going to inherit that job, it's like, man, like is that really the attitude you want? Because then the guy coming up behind you is like going to do everything he can to just undermine you too, so that he gets the next job. And I mean, it's a terrible cycle.
Mhm.
It seems like a horrible culture. Um,
Mhm.
and you're right. I mean, like Ocon and who I don't
Gasly.
particularly care for Ocon. Gasly, I think, is a really talented driver.
Mhm.
I think he's shown that at times. I mean, he showed it when he was at AlphaTauri.
Yeah, he pulls off the wild podiums.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
yeah, I think I was watching what was it? I think it was one of the race videos, like their preseason summary this morning while I was having breakfast. And based on the practice or preseason testing times, like they were predicting like Alpine's going to wind up ninth when the season's over. And I'm thinking, man, if Alpine, a factory team, winds up second to last, they should just shut it down. Like, just sell that thing to Andretti.
Yeah, I was about to say, or sell it to Andretti, right? No, this is one of the, I guess, storylines that I'm not interested in. I'm just kind of depressed that this is a storyline. Is that, man, there is a war at the bottom to be the worst. Like, are we draft selection? Like, you've got Haas that's not doesn't seem like it's really being invested in. They do have a change of leadership, which might work out. Now Alpine's going to be a bottom feeder, right? Maybe I'm with you. Like, is it RB? Cash App RB's like chance to shine and beat all of them this year because you got that Sauber is not going to be anywhere. They're in a transition year. They're not reinvesting.
Kick Sauber. What was it? What was the other name that they've had to dump? Is it Stake, right? Kick Sauber Stake or Stake Sauber Kick or something like that. Because Stake is like the online betting side of it or something, right? I think.
Yeah, I can't keep up. It's Sauber's for all I care.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just gonna stick to the names of the teams as we care
Sauber,
about them.
Yeah, I think Sauber is doomed until Bottas gets rid of the mullet.
Okay.
I'm going to stand behind that. Okay. That's the problem.
Yeah. Okay. Well, but check this out. Think about doomed though. Audi's going to inherit a team that is going through super low investment year over year.
Right.
And when you cap out that investment, if you're not maxing out whatever it is, then you're not investing in that team at the maximum amount, right? And so Audi's going to inherit this team that's probably going to be years behind.
Oh yeah.
And I just don't think you can do that for a Formula One team. Like, I think in the cost cap area, you've got to max out the cost cap every year to try to, invest as much R&D as you can, so you can learn things and have stuff in the chamber for the next cycle.
That's true, but let's say, and I don't know if this is true. I'm completely making this up, right? I may be 100% wrong, but and given their kind of in and out history with Autosport, I definitely don't think it's true. But imagine if you had, if you were Audi, you're not in Formula One, you're not subject to cost caps, right? You don't have a car. You don't really have a car this year. You've got a car 2 years from now, right? Aren't they at 26 in that when they're looking to enter, right? Like Audi could be building their own car, doing, running it in the wind tunnel every hour of every day between now and then, so that they've done all the backup R&D that Sauber's not doing, so that then when they get in and the cost cap actually hits, it's like, okay, that's great. We've already done, we've done all the research to, where, AMG and Ferrari and Red Bull have been the last 10 years, because we were able just like, we built the server farm and burned it down, just melted it down with heat over the last 2 years.
Nice.
But we weren't subject to your cost cap, right? Yeah. I mean, I don't think even Audi has that kind of money to do it, but I don't know.
That'd be good. I like this conspiracy theory workaround. Yeah, this is a great loophole. I like this. Just like Alexa and Windows are a safety feature.
That's right.
Like that. Yeah.
That's right. It's like financial fair play in international football, right? Like, yeah, it exists, but it doesn't really exist.
I have no clue what you mean, but I trust you.
Yeah.
I have a note here. So that's a storyline. The other one I get, I totally stole this from Missed Apex, but so apparently James Allison, who's back at Mercedes this year, and is basically the guy that's built this car, is my understanding. So he doesn't have the zero pod concept that didn't really work out last year, right?
Right.
He seemed pretty excited, is my understanding. He seemed pretty excited at practice, and just really couldn't hold back his joy. So that might be somewhat of an indication, right? You see people, like Aston Martin didn't look super excited at practice, right?
Right.
Like, I think they're going to be on their back foot. So I think you can gain a little bit of intel from that kind of attitude stuff. I don't think RBs. I mean Red Bull. I mean Red Bull is going to just expect to dominate again, and if they're not dominating by 3 seconds, they're probably a little sad. So it's tough to tell from their sentiment. But yeah, I think if you had an engineer get super excited about results, I think that's a good sign.
No, that's true. I mean, those guys are hard to even emote under the best of circumstances. So to get him
Mhm.
really excited about like where he might be, no, I agree with you, and I agree about Red Bull. It's super interesting to see Red Bull like picking up like the the top cannons idea and the
Mhm.
um. I mean, it's not zero side pod, but you know, such a drastic reworking of their side pods.
Right.
Um, it's really interesting. Like
And their shoulder
we,
pods too. That's
yeah,
revolutionary. Like,
yeah, and that's what I mean by the cannons, right? So,
oh, those cans. Okay, yeah.
yeah, um, like hey, we can take this idea that Mercedes had to discard because
Mhm.
Mercedes couldn't get their floor to work right, and so they couldn't get their rear tires to work right. Well, we've got the rear tire thing figured out. We can keep the rake where we need the rake, but now we can optimize for optimize and create even lower drag and still make sure we got everything cool enough. I mean, you may remember when when Red Bull was running those Renault engines when Vettel was still driving with them, and they had that run where they kept overheating. It was because Newey was really trying to optimize, by which I mean minimize airflow through the side pods, even though they
Mhm.
weren't the ground force cars at that point, but just minimize that, right, to reduce the drag. But they couldn't do it because the concept didn't ultimately work with the Renault engine because the
Right.
Renault engine was just running too hot. So he needed more air. And so then, but now, that Newey's got, and Red Bull have better control of the engine and the heat management situation because they're not really working with an outside vendor with having whatever it is now, Red Bull engines, HPD, whatever it is that's,
Right.
their configuration for the engine. They can get that figured out and they're going to have, the integrated data that's much better, but also getting back to, bagging on Renault again. They just don't have the problem with relying on an unreliable partner like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I I think it's really interesting that they're able to take that. Like nobody saw like right. Nobody saw Red Bull going like, hey, let's run that discarded Mercedes idea.
No, that was totally. I mean, and it's not. It's. I think there's part of that concept. I think there's more to it. Right. They have found
Sure.
more interesting, I think, low drag ways to cool components on that engine
Yeah.
that people just aren't thinking about. And yeah, so I'm excited to see them pushing the limit. I think, yeah, Adrian Newey. I mean, I love that guy. Like,
Great
I'm not the
genius,
biggest
right?
Verstappen fan, but yeah, no hate on the Red Bull design team. I think it's pretty fascinating.
How do you feel about Christian Horner? You a big Christian Horner fan?
Not a big Christian Horner fan, but I'm sure he's just had poor parenting or something. I don't know. So it's not his fault.
It's never anybody's fault, right?
No,
It's always
it's
somebody
nurture.
else's fault.
It's nurture, not nature. Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you
Um,
think about to completely swap up?
yeah.
What do you think about Williams? Do you think they're gonna? Because Williams was kind of back and forth last year. Like they started off really crappy, and they
Mhm.
figured it out in the middle of the season, and were kind of really interesting at the end of the year. Where do you think they go this year?
I don't think they do great, but I mean, I think you're going to see amazing, performances here and there from Albon, and I think you'll see them battling with the upper rear third, I guess, like whatever you want to call that,
Like
right?
for
Like,
P6, P8 kind
yeah,
of situation?
P8, yeah, for points, maybe. I think maybe more consistently in the points than the Sauber. How about that?
Right.
Yeah,
Definitely more than the
I'll
Haas,
say,
right? I mean, we don't
yeah.
think anything's. I mean, does Haas do anything this year except bring up the rear? Does anyone think that's going to happen?
That's the thing. I think that's a toss-up. I think I think it's going to be more exciting to see who comes in last this year because there's going to be so many opportunities. But you know, but that's not the exciting thing about motorsports or really sports in general. Like
Who's
every
going to
once
get
in a
that
while,
number one draft pick?
yeah. Every once in a while, you're like, man, the Browns suck so bad. It's amazing, but it's not really that exciting. It's like a joke.
Yeah. So do you think it's at the top? Do you think it's Red Bull, Mercedes, Ferrari?
That's my current hot take. Yes, but I'm just now. I haven't even changed my fantasy GP because right now I have Red Bull. I'm sorry, Verstappen and Ferrari. But yeah, no, I don't know. I might take Verstappen, Mercedes, and see if I can get another top end driver. But I don't know. But yeah, I think it's Red Bull, Mercedes, Ferrari right now. But we're gonna know a whole lot more in like tomorrow or the day after. I mean,
Yeah, no, that's true. By the time this comes out, some of this may be partially obsoleted. But like,
Mhm.
is McLaren going to be able to push up? Do you
I
think they
think
can
McLaren
threaten
is going to
the
be
top three?
I think they'll be a solid fourth in the constructor championship.
Yeah.
Yeah, my prediction is that those top three just kind of push forward a little bit more this year. Um, but we'll see. I need to really get this fired off so that people can listen to it before practice.
Yeah, no, that's
This
true. Because
podcast.
I thought it was so. I'm not a McLaren fan. I do like Norris, but I thought it was really interesting the way that they actually did what they said they were going to do. Right at the start of the season, Zach was like, "Okay, we're really going to suck out of the box. Like, let's be really clear about this." And I think our perspective on it at that point was, "Oh, he's just like he's trying to lower the bar." Right. So nobody expects too much from them. Right. And then they did pretty much exactly what he said. Like their car was not very good at the start. And then he was like, but look, we're going to have an upgrade, like for Silverstone or whatever. And it's really going to change. Like we know what we did wrong. We know what we need to fix. It's going to be a very different back half of the season once we're able to get that upgrade in place.
Mhm.
And then, I mean, he was right. Piastri and Norris both were in the hunt consistently at the end of the season.
Yeah, no, I mean that was an impressive, change of fate last year. They really took it to Aston Martin in the second half of that season, and I feel like I knew something was going to change. I thought it would be more success from Mercedes, but no, yeah, McLaren knows what's up. And I don't know if they do that again this year. It's tough to predict what's going to happen in the middle of the year. I don't
Yeah.
see them coming out of the gate swinging. I do think they're quick. I do think they're quicker than that kind of like that back half of the field for sure. So I
Right.
feel like they're just going to be in a league of their own, kind of. I don't see them really battling with Aston Martin even. I think Aston's going to be behind them, and there's nobody else
I,
up front really.
I agree with you. Although, man, you know what? Alonso did last year was incredible. I mean, until the car didn't advance the way it needed to throughout the season. But
Mhm.
that was in retrospect, that was I mean, we knew it at the time too, but it was staggering. Um, particularly because, you feel like like, maybe Alonso's just kind of like a Tom Brady type freak, right? Like he can
Mhm.
keep performing into his 40s. He's that good. Like, you know, the you know, the blood of baby seals that he has transfused or whatever continues to renew him, or EPO or
Oh, I
whatever
bet
it
that
is.
guy is on some fancy supplements. You know,
Stuff they don't have a test for.
he can get seal oil.
Yeah.
I can't get seal oil. That guy can buy it.
It probably just shows up. He doesn't even have to buy it, right?
He's got a subscription on Amazon. He's got the special black market Amazon that the FDA can't see. Yeah,
Maybe that's what that quinoa thing that's on his baseball caps is.
I think that's a baseball cap company.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's his own clothing brand. I have one of them. They're pretty obnoxious,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's what that is. It's his own weird, yeah, hype brand. So
Okay. Well, maybe
anyway,
it's his own fashion brand and seal oil
supplement.
dispensary.
Lots of
Yeah.
great omega 3s. Yeah, in that seal oil, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but
If you buy enough, you get into the club, like clubbing seals. I don't know.
oh man,
Man,
you're gonna get us canceled.
real stretch there.
We are straight off of PETA's Spotify podcast list with that one.
Yeah, Not the not the number one play from Pina this year. Sorry.
No, but I agree. I think Aston reverts to form. I think they're a 5. Maybe maybe a fight with Williams for 5-6.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm so excited for practice. I can't even stand talking about this anymore. I just want to go watch practice.
You want
It's all a bunch of
advance
BS.
time?
I do. Yeah. Like next week's podcast is going to be so much better. We've just been in such a weird motorsports lull.
Okay,
I
so
feel like.
speaking of so then let's get one more out.
Okay.
The car that is now known as just RB,
Mhm.
right? Formerly, what was it? The Cash App by Visa,
Mhm. Okay. I
whatever
think
it was.
McLaren wins the RB Aston Martin McLaren battle, but I feel like it's kind of like that's the second pack in the field is going to be those 3 cars. So yeah, that's my hot take there. I think
So do you think
they do as well as Aston. I don't think they're really back at Williams.
So you think you're going McLaren 4, Aston 5, RB 6, Williams 7?
Yeah, sure. That sounds about right.
Okay. And then 8, 9, 10 are I mean in some mix Alpine, Stake and Haas.
That sounds perfect.
Yeah.
How about you?
think that's
Same?
about right. No, I think I'm about the same. I don't. It's hard for me to say that Alpine is going to be 9th, just because I think they've got big enough resources. They shouldn't be that bad.
Mhm.
But I'd like for them to be 11th because on a 10 team grid, because I think that toxicity is just so nasty.
Nice. Nice.
Um,
Pat does not care for toxicity in the workplace.
I do not toxicity at all.
Mhm.
Except in my juice, because alcohol is mildly toxic. So I suppose
Sure.
that's where I accept toxicity. But I think it'll be interesting to see what happens with Ferrari and Mercedes. I think Ferrari could move up. I mean, the truth is, Red Bull could have tripped on it, right? I mean, I know we are not accustomed to that in Formula One for the last 20 years that a team doesn't come back and, be in, super contention. Absent a change in the rule set, right? Because that seems to be like where the empires change is when the rule set changes. But because it was true, Red Bull to Mercedes, then Mercedes back to Red Bull, we're both at structural changes. I don't know. The other thing I think is really interesting is we've got a record, so last season we had a record low number of drivers changing teams. But I think at the end of this season, at least in the kind of modern Formula One era, we're going to have a record number of open seats because there's a lot of teams that have, contracts that come up at 24 or, like Carlos was going to be out of a contract anyway, but now Lewis is coming in his seat. So Carlos, it's kind of like the phenomenon you see certainly in the NBA where like you've got a guy who's in a contract year and he's been, like a 10.5 rebound guy and suddenly he's a 2010 guy for that season. Cause it's like, hey, there's going to be money on the table for, a center who can put up numbers. And then, he goes and gets signed by, whoever, the Dallas Mavericks, and he reverts to form. Like, hey, this guy's a 10-5 guy after all. Yeah, look, his entire career he's a 10-5 guy until last season, right?
Okay, so you think you're going to see a lot of drivers showing up?
Yeah, I do. I mean, we saw certainly with Checo, we saw that the last go round. Like he was, about out of his, he was going to be rideless until he like lit it on fire with, what was it, Beta or Racing Point? What were they at that point?
Force India, something,
like the last 3 or 4 races, and it's like, catapults into the Red Bull seat. He's not going to have that again. There's lots of speculation about who's going to go there. Lando, I think, signed a new contract at McLaren, right? So that had been the speculation, was that he was going to go. I don't see, I know Ricardo thinks he's going to get back to Red Bull.
I don't
I don't
see
see that happening.
No, there's a lot of BS about that on the DTS.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't see Yuki. I don't see them promoting Yuki to that. He hasn't. I mean, Yuki's been all right, but he hasn't been like the guy, right? Like,
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. But to your point, like maybe he shows up this year. Maybe he, he sees the opportunity because you got a lot of talent in that stack. I mean, was it Liam Lawson was the guy that they brought in for a couple races and way outperformed, and he needs a place to go. So.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, that'd be a really interesting play is to bring him in, have Verstappen, the seasoned veteran, and have some young hot shoe in there.
Yeah.
To be the long term play. I don't know, but yep, it's going to be wild this year. Wild, guys.
It is going to be
Tune in and check out racershq.com and our associated podcast, the Racers HQ podcast. Because we're going to be covering all year that and our local antics.
That's right.
So yeah, like and subscribe, rate and review.
Not a lot of drag racing content. If you're a drag fan.
Okay, I mentioned that it was boring season, but I will say this: Todd brought up a good point. There was an amazing some sort of NASCAR finish I didn't watch where it was like 4 cars wide, and it was like a half inch. That's pretty rad. I guess I didn't watch it, but
the end of that Atlanta race was pretty amazing.
So, NASCAR can be cool. You should watch it.
We got IndyCar fixing to kick off here pretty soon.
Yeah. Okay. Good deal. Where's their season opener?
Long Beach, right?
Long Beach. Okay. Cool. Nice.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
I haven't looked at the Indy schedule recently. Seems like that's kind of. It's either. Oh no, is it St. Pete, then Long Beach, maybe?
Sure. Nathan would know.
Nathan would know.
Nathan, we need you here. But oh well.
Maybe we can get him like on the Slack or just in the Discord, just the chat side.
Maybe never mind. We could create a digital clone of him using GPT, and we could just have the Nate GPT, and we can ask him about, or I could just Google it. Never mind. We don't need a Nathan GPT clone. Let's Google the IndyCar schedule. This is stupid.
Yeah, but we should have a Nathan GPT clone. Only we do it like Max Headroom style.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Right.
I like this.
So it's got kind of like that stutter effect that Max Headroom had.
Mm-hmm. Yep. This is exciting. We'd have to make it do that because it's way better than that.
Oh yeah.
But we tell it in the style of Max Headroom.
That's right. That's right.
It'll be like, like this. Yeah, or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. It's exciting.
There we go. Nate Headroom.
Nate Headroom. There you go, Nate. Hope you're listening. All right. Well, do we have any other hot topics tonight, Pat? I feel like wrapping this thing up and moving on to next week. There's just such pent up expectations for the weekend.
The expectations are pent up. It will be a big weekend all the way around.
Yeah. Let's see here. What's going to happen this weekend? We got Formula One. Roland Vaughn is going to get his personal best at Hallett and really be on pace. That's my prediction. And I think Hunter improves as well. And we recently found out Hunter's down like 10 horsepower. We need a GoFundMe page to fix Hunter's motor or something. Not that Hunter needs that, but we got to rally the troops because something's wrong with Hunter's motor.
Oh, really?
It's not making the power it needs to make. No, he's a good 12 horsepower down, I think, on his competitors, and so his driving's getting a lot better. But that's not going to win races.
Isn't this a new motor? But it's not. It's new. It's a new to him motor, right?
Yeah, it's still so he's a 1.8. I think he's still got the flat top. He's got some headers that I don't think are the state of the art headers. I think he needs a good tune on it, and maybe he's down on compression or something. I don't really know what the gap is there. I guess I had a cam on mine when I was making like 160 horse, but he's not even making like 122 horse. So I don't know. Yeah, he's missing something there. Something's not, clicking. But
he needs some nitrous. He needs a 20 shot of nitrous.
I mean, yeah, I don't think that's. I don't know where we're going with this, Pat. Come on, stay on topic, buddy. We're talking race cars, okay? This is super serious stuff, Mulry. We can't use nitrous. Fucking dork. Not kidding. Appreciate your participation. Anyway.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're fine. All right. Well,
All
that's
right,
all I
let's
have.
wrap it. I
Let's
think that's
wrap
it
it.
for tonight.
Let's wrap it. All right, Mulry. Do you have any shout outs other than Lexan producers?
The Lexan producers of the world. Thank you. No, I'm looking forward to our exploits of our friends at the racetrack this weekend and living.
Are you going to any
vicariously.
racetracks? Are you working on the car? What are you doing?
I am not. I am golfing twice this weekend. Saturday morning, and Sunday morning. So,
wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've got
very
it.
nice.
Looking forward to getting out on the links a couple of times while the weather's good here before it gets, like this time of year is good for golf. The grass isn't as grown in as you want yet, but it's not hot. So you got to kind of pick and choose sometimes a little bit. So looking forward to that and seeing what our friends do and maybe catching some Formula One and.
Yeah. So you're going to have to be juggling golf and Formula One on Saturday morning for the season opener. Man, that's rough.
Right.
Okay,
maybe we'll just like throw it on the I don't like music on the golf course. I love music. I just don't like it on the golf course. Like people that have the speakers blaring on their golf carts because I kind of like the meditative, silent part of golf a little bit.
Yeah.
And but I might set that aside to just put like Radio Le Mans or whoever covers Formula One on the radio.
Yeah.
Stream that on the Bluetooth speaker.
I like that. That sounds fun. Yeah, do that. Yeah. Are the guys that blare music at golf, are those the same guys that do that like drive home in a bagger or on a bagger, I should say? Like those, those motorcycles with the giant speakers and fairings and stuff. Same guys.
I don't think you can no. I mean maybe them too, but I don't think the stereotype fits anyone. Like I've seen like, guys that are like, you feel like are in tank tops and cut off jeans that are doing it. But then there's like, guys that are like in, polo shirts and khakis that are pulling out their Bluetooth speaker too. So I don't, it's everybody.
The scourge of golf, Bluetooth speakers.
Yeah.
Well, very good.
At least for me.
I appreciate Roland. He's taking off the Saturday, comma day so that we can watch F1 and then we're headed up to Tulsa or, whatever, Jennings, on Sunday morning. So
that is dedication to the Formula One bit.
It is. But he just needs to do a shakedown. No racing yet, but we're getting real close. Yeah. Cool. Well, all right. Well, let's wrap this up. Like and subscribe, rate and review, and we'll see you at the track. Bye, everybody.
Good night, Dave.
Good night, Dave.